Hello everyone, this is Ekaterina, and today we are continuing talking about the battles of the Great Second World War. Um, I need to say that unfortunately next time, because of technical problems, we have to stop the lecture, but now I record this lecture for you. Yeah, so now I will demonstrate the screen, and the main topic for our discussion today will be heroes of the first days of the Second World War. Yeah, today we're going to talk with you about the battle for the Brest Fortress. Now I need to open it in a normal format to watch it. It is better. One moment. Yeah, slideshow. Okay, here we go. It's uploading, and as you know, very soon will be the Victory Day on the 9th of May, very soon. And now we are talking about the one of the great the battle for the Brest Fortress. But to begin talking about the battle for the Brest Fortress in 20th century, we have to have a look at the history of the fortress. I think when we pronounce word fortress, the first association, I don't know, to me is medieval ages. A fortress, kings who live in this fortress. I don't know why it works for me like this. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. Let's do it after the lecture. Yeah. So about the fortress, yeah. So when we pronounce word fortress, we think about medieval age, yeah. Of course, the history of Brest Fortress began not in the medieval age, but it begins in 18th century. Yeah, in the 18th century, it's just a plan, a small spoiler for you, but we're gonna begin with the map. As always, we start with location because it's just a beautiful word, Brest, but we could have no idea where is Brest. Yeah, so the Brest, you can see this red tick. Brest, it's a small city in Belarus. In Soviet Russia, it was a republic, Belarus. Now it's a country, Belarus. A very good location between two cities, Warsaw, which is the capital of the Poland, you can see according to my small map here, and between city Minsk, which is the capital of Republic Belarus, and the third capital is Moscow, yeah, the center of Soviet Russia. Yeah, when I say Soviet Russia, I'm talking about USSR. Yeah, it's obvious because when the Second World War began, it was Soviet Russia. Yeah, this is more important to use this word, this term, Soviet Russia. Yeah, so you can see this the beautiful location even uh, in the 18th century. And why I started talking about the 18th century? Because the idea of creating Brest Fortress born in 18th century. But interesting fact, Brest Fortress call it has its names only in um, 20th century, I think, because before it, city Brest or town Brest, because as I said, it's a kind of small city. Um, uh, Nowadays, of course not, but you should understand that in 20th century it was town. Yeah, so it calls Brest, yeah, from Russian and Belarusian languages. It's interesting. Brest Litovsk. And now I want to stop here because many people who now live in Russia, you should see the brand of cheese. The brand calls Brest-Litovsk. Yeah, this is it was a name for city Brest. Yeah, in the 19th and 19th century. Yeah. So As I said, even in 18th century, this territory where now is located Brest Fortress was an important military point, yeah, because has got very good strategic position in the Russian Empire. Yeah, when I talk about 18th century, we should remember that it was Russian Empire before Soviet. Yeah, very long history of this Brest Fortress. But the idea to create this fortress in 19th century didn't realize because it was Napoleonic War. Yeah, as I said, when it was because of Napoleonic War, everything had to be postponed. Yeah, it's obvious. Yeah, the so chaotic war in the Russian Empire, and the plan of the Brest Fortress was postponed. And it was only in 1834 that work began on the project of the military topographer and engineer Karl Oppermann. Yeah, so the main topographer and engineer of this Brest Fortress was Karl Oppermann in the 19th century. Um, and the construction of the fortress raised on only in 1842. Yeah, about 10 years was the building of this fortress. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the First World War. Also, Brest Fortress was a really important point at the map during the First World War. Here we are talking already about it was it's interesting. You know, the First World War, it was the period when we are talking about Russian Empire, and in a in a couple of years it was a Soviet Russia. Yeah, so it's a turning moment. This First World War for for all world in for and for changing the government in the changing the regime in the Russia. At the beginning of the 20th century provided the fortress with several shocks. In the First World War in August 1915, it was particularly blown up. Yeah, then there was a brief respite with the sinking of the Brest Park in March 1918 in the central fortification, the citadel. Yeah, you can see it in the left picture, citadel, which allowed the newborns one second, Recefasser, this is the new regime, the new government, yeah, to withdraw from the international shuffle. Okay. And then, in the beginning of the 20th century, the fortress changed hands. Germans, Poles, Russian, because why I said Poles? Because Belarus is really close to Poland, yeah, so it's always changed the territories. Yeah, let's continue. As I say, as I say, oh my God, where I am? Okay, let's continue. Russians, and finally, in 1921, it was given to Poland. Yeah, this is why I showed you the map. The Poland used this fortress for own things as a political prison for prisoners. Yeah, um, where opposition figures were sent there. Okay, and now let's talk about the Second World War. It was a shock for all world because you will perfectly know that the beginning of the Second World War began in the Poland on the 1st of September in 1939. The Germans bombed the fortress from airplanes. You can see them in the right picture, yeah, old photo. I can imagine the fear of this planes. Yeah, looks very scary for me. Absolutely. As I said, Germans bombed the fortress from airplanes and stormed with armed vehicles under the command of the of the father of the German tanks forces. Yeah, said General Hans Guderian. It's a German commander. Uh, the Polish people fought for 2 weeks until finally the wounded garrison's commander gave the order to retreat through the Bug River to the south. Yeah, the Bug River, it's a river between Poland and Belarus. Um, on the same day, Soviet troops crossed the eastern border of Poland, and on the 22nd of September, Germans hand over the Brest for the 29th Tanks Brigade of the Red Army, Commander Semyon Krivoshein, and left the city. But the story continued, and the Second World War began in the full Russia. Yeah, on the 22nd of June. I really love the painting on the right side because you can see that it was early in the morning, 4 a.m. People were sleeping, relaxed, and then war began, yeah, which changed the life of millions families in Soviet Russia. Um, on the morning of the 22nd of June in 1941, approximately 9,000 Soviet soldiers were in the fortress, in the Brest Fortress. Border guards, gunners, scouts, riflemen, engineer troops, and the NKVD, of course. Yeah, it's a special part of the military of the army in Soviet Russia, as well as 300 military families were in this fortress. You can imagine kids, wives, and of course the troops families. The Germans had deployed more than twice their superior force against them and planned to celebrate the victory by noon on at the same day. A hurricane of fire was opened on the fortress. They hit the barracks, bridge, entrance gates, and the houses of commanding staff. Yeah, so it was a plan to do it until the noon. Yeah, to kill all people in this fortress. Um, almost the entire command staff who spent the night in their apartments was destroyed because, as I repeat, they were sleeping. It was 4 a.m. Yeah, so and the Brest, as I said, the Brest Fortress. It was the first battle in the war, the Second World War in the Russia, in Soviet Russia. Then the enemy artillery began firing. Two divisions fired 7,000 rounds of ammunition of 150 caliber and above in 5 minutes. The shells destroyed many people, as well as communications, warehouses, and plumbing. Half an hour later, the Germans launched an assault and deprived the defenders of the fortress of the possibility of a single coordination resistance. Uh, mhm. uh, let's talk about this slide. I really love this. A brilliant photo. Soviet soldiers fired back, went into bayonet attacks, and did everything to make every piece of foreign land stand across the enemy's throat. By 7 a.m., some units of the two rifle divisions were able to leave the fortress and the city of Brest with battles and heavy losses. But a lot of soldiers didn't manage to get out of the fortress. Yeah, it was really easy. Yeah, we can imagine that if you are afraid, you can leave, but not in this situation, not for these people. And this is why the soldiers didn't manage to get out of the fortress. They continued to fight, greatly spoiling the plans of the occupiers' triumph. Uh, to um, uh, to take the fortress in 8 hours with superior forces. Uh, No, it didn't was like this. It was it's like a question. Yeah, sorry for my intonation, because when I talk about such war history, I it's hard for me. Yeah, I'm sorry for my mistake during my speech. Okay, and they uh they didn't manage to give this fort for the enemy. Um, they ruined their plans to take the fortress for even for 8 hours. The Red Army soldiers understand that they couldn't win. Nevertheless, they daily repelled the attacks of Nazis, who poured flamethrowers and machine guns. People were exhausted and uh, dehydrated because it was the main problem. No water in this fortress for people. Yeah, um, had not sleep and had not sleep a wink for days, and could barely stand on their feet, and they continued to fight. Um, and I need to say a couple of words about this title in the fortress. In Russian, it sounds like this: "Умираю, прощай, но не сдаюсь. Родина, yeah, 20 of June 1949. So how we can translate this title? I'm dying, goodbye, but I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up to the enemy, yeah, because I um, defend my country. Yes, I really love this title. Yeah, very. If you will be in the Brest, you should visit this fortress to see this in this fortress they save this title. Yeah, in now it works as a memorial. I will show you the picture. Yeah. Um. mm, yeah. Um. So after the treacherous attack by Nazis, the major organized resistance from the surviving fighters, showing heroism and bravery by personal experience, by personal example. Sorry. Now I want to talk about some heroes of this battle. For example, Pyotr Gavrilov. I think that he is the most popular hero which I know, because the main problem nowadays, we know a lot about the war, but we know lack about the heroes. Yeah, and Pyotr Gavrilov, the hero which we perfectly know in Russia, and I hope after this election you will remember his name too. So Pyotr Gavrilov um, was he showed the heroism and bravery by his personal example in the Brest Fortress. Gavrilov was captured one of the last on um, July the 3rd of July 1941, on the 40, 42nd day after the start of the war. And only because he was unconscious and seriously uh, wounded. Um, Interesting moment, memory note by his doctor. Yeah, on May uh, um one second, I'm just mixed in my notes. The doctor who treated Gavrilov described him after he survived in this battle, and doctor who treated Gavrilov after the war, because Gavrilov was in uh, um, he was in a Nazi camp after the Brest battle, yeah. And the doctor who treated Gavrilov described him as an extremely um, emaciated man, literally a skeleton covered in skin. This doctor described his appearance. Yeah, his commander's uniform was in tatters, and his bearded face was covered in gunpowder, soot, and dust. Yeah, you can imagine the picture, yeah, of his portrait. In this portrait, he looks absolutely different way. He was so weak that he couldn't even swallow, and the doctors had to use artificial nutrition. Yeah, so unfortunately, on the slide we don't have a normal, we don't have two photos uh, to compare them. Yeah, the face during the war and the face in the peace. To compare and remember this difference. It's really important. Yeah, how to can save the peace. Okay, and I cannot say a couple of words about Piotr Klipa, a very interesting surname of this hero. Klipa, it's Polish, Poland and Belarusian surname. So Piotr Klipa, he was a 14 years old guy who also saved the who also was a participant of the battle in the Brest Fortress, and he saved the peace in Soviet Russia in 1941. Yeah, Piotr Klipa, only 14 years old. Yeah, already he was a soldier in 14 years old. Okay, and now nowadays Brest Fortress looks like a memorial um, area. Yeah, this is some photos of this fortress. Let's have a look at short video. I hope that you can see it. One moment. If not, I will change the demonstration. Of course, I'm very bad at techniques. Okay, yeah, so I just want to show you a video about this memorial uh, to for your better understanding how it looks like nowadays. Just no sound in this video, just to feel the atmosphere in this place, yeah, where a lot of people were killed there, and now it's a memorial. I have never been there, but I got dream to visit one day because Belarus very close to Russia, so it will be a mistake to uh, yeah. Can you see the title? Yeah, this handwriting which were kept in this fortress. Yeah, I really want to visit it because I cannot imagine the atmosphere of this place. I think I will cry all the excursion there. It's hard, but we need to visit such place. Yeah, museum there in this fortress nowadays. The exposition is very good. From my historical view, it's best, very good. Yeah, now it calls like Brest Fortress Hero. Yeah, created this memorial area in 1917. Sorry, 1974. I think this is on the 9th of May. It looks very beautiful. Yeah, near the river. Yeah, veterans you can see in the video. And this is the main monument. Yeah, obelisk. This is the main gate to this fortress. This is the museum, yeah, as I said. Okay, and if you will be one day in Belarus, I highly recommend you to visit this memorial area. Okay, let's back to the presentation. Mhm. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, of course. Okay, thank you. Thank you, presentation. Okay, each lesson I recommend you to watch movies. A very good movie which calls Брестская крепость in Russian. In English, it's called the Brest Fortress. Very simple name of this movie, but very deep meaning in the film. Yeah, so about the it's a new film. It was it was filmed 10 years more than 10 years ago, but for me it's new, yeah, because most movies about war they are filmed many years ago. It's kind of new. Now let's have a look a small video from this film. All the film which I talking about you can find in the Kinopoisk, yeah, Russian Netflix, if we can call it like this, yeah. Let's have a look a small trailer. Let's watch it. Yeah. Okay. Let it think a little bit, a couple of seconds, and let's watch. The picture is good. Yeah. Okay. I hope the sound will be with us too. Can you see the main
Я сегодня
games?
опять на заставу перебежчик от поляков пришел.
The oldest participant in
Сегодня
this,
война начнется в 4
battle.
часа.
Веришь?
Нет, конечно. Только за эту неделю 10 таких поймали, и каждый твердит, что сегодня, завтра, 8 августа.
Говорит Москва.
Петя! Война!
Заявление советского правительства.
Всем вернуться в казармы! Разобрать оружие и занять оборону! Бегом!
Сегодня, 22 июня,
Застава! Оружие к бою!
4 часа утра.
В эфире только немцы. Может, это обучение? Годите, бедахнучи! Годите! Отставить! Панику прекратить! Командование беру на себя.
Объявление войны.
Товарищ лейтенант, а где Аня? Я найду ее!
Акимов!
Павел Клык.
Германские войска напали на нашу страну.
Yeah, the title, the war began like this because it's the first day of the war.
Я крепость. Держим оборону. Ведем бой. Ждем подкрепления. Ждем подкрепления. Ждем подкрепления.
Okay, I think that's it was a movie which you will watch in your free time. Yeah, because the Victory Day in Russia will be very soon, maybe on the 9th of May, you want to watch this movie. But we continue talking about movies, and I want to recommend one more. I think this is the masterpiece in the movies of about the war. I think that most of you know Tarkovsky. Yeah, this is very popular director a film director, and he filmed a wonderful film. I highly recommend you this, which calls Ivanov's childhood. In Russian it calls Ivanovo детство. Each picture is I think it's a masterpiece, even each picture. Yeah, let's have a look a small video about this film. Yeah, so Andrei Tarkovsky, I think many of you know him and maybe watched his movies as a Stalker, for example. Unfortunately, I cannot show you his movies here. Okay, so Иваново детство, yeah, Ivanov's childhood. I think maybe you can find this movie even in English too, with or maybe with subtitles. Means I've been a festival in Venice, a cinema festival, and he filmed the movies in the white and black. I love it.
А где его отец и мать?
Мать с сестренкой вроде убили. Отец пограничник. Погиб, что ли?
А что вы с Катасоновичем все высматриваете? Поезд, что ли, готовите?
На пикник собираемся. С твоим патефончиком.
Опять Иван пойдет.
Иван, что, я тебя справишь на бюро, что ли?
А пока война, ты знаешь, кто отдыхает? Тот, от кого пользы мало.
Very intriguing, yeah. I think it's a good start for continuing watching it. I think that it's better to watch this movie alone. Yeah, it's not for like to watch it in cinema theaters. Okay, and let's waiting for my demonstration, for my presentation, and that's all for today. I think for me, as I repeat, for me it's extremely important and hard to talk about such topics about war. It's hard, but we need to talk about them. We need to remember, we need to compare. Yeah, we need to compare, and highly recommend you to watch these movies to feel the atmosphere. Okay, we never can understand the feelings of these people. We cannot imagine it, but we can watch the movie and feel the atmosphere. And I highly recommend you, if you will be in the Brest, or as we talked with you about Leningrad or different cities here as in Russia, yeah, to visit memorial areas, to feel the atmosphere, yeah, to feel this tragedy in people's lives in the beginning of the 20th century. Yeah. So thank you for your listening my lecture. If you get any questions, unfortunately now we meet in such format in recording the lecture, but if you got any questions, write me below the comments, and I will give answer with all big pleasure to your questions. Okay, thank you. Have a nice evening.